Today I'm playing chess against players of different levels. To understand what's the difference between a beginner, an intermediate player, and a master, I'm going to show you how to crash the fried liver, and then we will have the most beautiful checkmate ever. Let's go! We have the black pieces, and the first move is f3? Really? Okay, this is really a bad move because the king is directly weak. I will play the move e5. And now if my opponent dares to push this pawn, they would be checkmated in 2 moves. Now, luckily for them, they went for the central push of this pawn. But now I could show you a very interesting idea that I cannot because the knight is protecting the pawn. Alright, we will just develop our pieces. I think that's a very normal way to play at the beginning of every game. You put a pawn in the center of the board, you develop the knight, you develop the bishop, and then you go with the other knight, you castle, then you push the other pawn, you go with the other bishop, and everything will be developed. This is a very simple setup that works really well in many openings. What is this move? Rule number 1.0. Do not push too many pawns in the opening. My opponent has pushed already 1, 2, 3. I've just been pushing 1 pawn. And that's enough for me. I will be able to castle and then to push the second one just because I want to develop further. Okay, now I could push d6 and being solid, but my opponent is playing way too slow. And the point is, by pushing pawns, they are not developing the pieces. So now I'm really fast and I think I can already break through. That's why I pushed in the center, want to trade some pawns. I think I will take here. This gives me access maybe to this square on g4, and I love it. This is a bit the idea of the fried liver, where the knight is threatening to jump on f2, which is the most vulnerable spot in white position right now, because the square is just protected by the king. Plus, it's very close to the king, so we might be able to give mate. Alright, here we are not able to give mate, but who is going to save the queen? This is a lovely fork, attacking the queen, attacking the rook at the same time, but the queen doesn't have any way to escape. And it's even crazier that maybe we have mate here. Now I will just take the queen, it's a check. This is called discovery check. And the king is moving, that's very smart. I will bring the knight backwards. The knight is protected by the bishop, so it's all good. Usually you shouldn't trade pieces of higher value for pieces of less value, so a rook of 3 points shouldn't be traded for the knight. My opponent is offering a draw. I'm sorry, I will not take the draw, but I will remind everyone that he will get the points back. So no worries, it's just important to learn. Hey, that was quick. Let's play one more game from this account and then we will move on to another level. Let's play with the white pieces. We put a pawn in the center of the board and let's try to follow the script. 1 pawn in the center, and this is important. Every time your opponent is not placing a pawn in one of the 4 central squares, you're going to place the other one. And now you have a massive center. They are so strong because you can just make the perfect development. You can go out with the knight here, with the other knight here, with the bishop out here, there, or there, or with the bishop out here, there, or not there right now because the pawn would be taking the bishop. And then you can castle and you have an amazing development. Chess is like war. You need to fight with your whole army. It's not that you send like 1 soldier ahead fighting them all. No, it's not how it works. Now, we are in the Caracan defense. And here there are already so many possibilities. I could take, I could push, but in general, I really like to defend my pawn. Because like this, if my opponent trades, I have a knight in the center of the board. And this is usually valid for many trades. When your opponent takes, if you take back, usually you are improving one of your pieces. It's a general rule, is not valid in every single case, but is very useful. You're pushing another pawn to defend this one, but I think this is a mistake. Because what are you doing? You're blocking the bishop from going out. This bishop is crying there. I will just bring out my knight and keep developing my pieces. And all my pieces are ready to go out in amazing squares. They are very happy. Usually in the Caracan, the idea is that you first want to bring out this bishop, and then push this pawn to develop the other one. Now, my opponent is doing again one very important mistake, pushing way too many pawns. I'm very happy to take here, because now this pawn is attacked twice by a pawn, so I cannot protect it one more time. So I'm going to trade here. They have to take with this pawn, and then I will go with the knight in the middle of the board. Usually you shouldn't move twice the same piece, but here I have a huge threat. I'm already threatening to go with my queen all the way to h5, give a check to the king. That is nearly mate. And if the pawn pushes, I have an amazing tactic, because I can give away my knight if the pawn takes, the rook is hanging. So the only way for them to defend this is to go with the knight out. And that's not what they're doing, because the bishop is attacking the knight, but is not avoiding the very annoying check here on h5. And here you see why you shouldn't push the f-pawn usually, because it makes your king very weak. And you can learn this very sweet tactic that is working in so many situations. The knight takes on g6 because the rook behind is hanging. It's a very important tactical pattern. Alright, the pawn is taking, we take the rook, and now we are also attacking the knight. One thing that we didn't do so well, I mean, we won a rook, so we can be happy. But we still didn't develop all the pieces, so my next moves are going to be bishop out, then the other bishop out. Not sure where this bishop should go. It depends. Anyway, let's put it there, and then maybe long castle or short castle. The long castle right now, it's a bit safer, because on the short side, there is this bishop pointing here. Maybe also the queen could help to attack this pawn, so I prefer to castle long in this situation. You're giving a check, and now I have two ways to interfere with the bishop or with the other bishop. If I go with this bishop, there is a very annoying tactic, exploiting the fact that the bishop is pinned, the pawn is attacking the bishop and is going to win it because I cannot move it away. That's why I'm going out with this bishop, because the pawn cannot get there and no other piece can go to attack my bishop. And I'm ready to bring this other out here or there, and then to castle. And let's not forget that this knight is still hanging, so they have to take care of it. The queen is moved, and now the two queens are looking at each other, but I'm not trading. I'm first taking here. In general, when you have more material, you should trade, because trades are good. You can simplify the position, it's easier to win. But in such a position, where when you have free stuff, free things, just take it. Free cheese macaroni, we take it. There was a knight. Great horse. Sorry, vegans. And now a pawn. It's approved by everyone, so that's all good. What is important to do there is not to blunder. So that's why usually it's easy to trade pieces. Anyway, now if they cover with the queen, I would have taken another cheese macaroni, and this position is soon to be checkmate. Alright, we are from another account, so we are playing against stronger players, and let's see what's the difference. Here they're placing a pawn in the center of the board, and they're going out with the knight. So up to now, great moves. I'm going to defend this pawn, and usually the typical move is to bring this bishop out, here or there. Here we have the Italian, there we have the Spanish. We don't have any of this, we have the Scotch game. The center is attacked, and here is one of the few situations where I like to be the first one to trade. In general, remember this rule. It's good to trade a central pawn for another central pawn, but you should try avoiding trading a central pawn for a side pawn. The central pawn are the E and D. Alright, I will go with the bishop here, attacking this, looking at this knight. Now, this knight is attacked once and twice. So protected just once, so needs to get more protection. I'll play queen f6. This is actually all theory. I'm attacking this knight one more time. Now the knight is attacked 3 times, protected just 2, so it needs even more protection. The right move is to play c3, but this move is just blundering a piece. That's why, guys, many people are asking me how to get to 1000 elo. And the truth is that you have to play good moves, develop your pieces, and then just take the free pieces that your opponent are offering you. Of course, like, if at the same time you're offering free pieces, it doesn't work. So the idea is that you don't blunder your pieces and you take the free pieces that they're offering. Free cheese macaroni for everyone. That's how you get to 1000 elo. Now, we would have another free one here, but then there is the bishop hanging. So I will just bring my knight out. That's more than enough. It's okay. I'm going to castle short at some point. Okay, now they are forcing me to take there. It's all good. It's all good. My knight is a bit misplaced here, meaning that I don't have so many nice squares to go, but I think I will find a way to come back. I mean, maybe this square I should leave it. I will just castle and let's see. I know that here is a bit playing with fire because it seems like, oh, there is a pin here. Maybe this pawn can be pushed. This knight is a bit misplaced. There is a 4. But now I can simply go there, and if the pawn pushes, I can take a free pawn. If the rook goes there, this seems like, oh, there is a queen, a knight under attack, but I can simply take there. And if the rook takes the knight, is a trade of pieces. One thing here, if you want to choose a simpler approach, you can just play knight there, and after the bishop takes, you take with the knight. And the knight here is a better place because it has a very nice square to go. All right, the bishop is moving, attacking my queen. I'm moving my queen to a very active square. I'm looking at the g2 pawn, and once the king is castled, this pawn is very weak because it's just protected by the king. The pawn is attacking my knight, so I move it away. So if I bring a knight here, I'm already threatening mate. Remember, every time you can kiss the king with your queen, and the queen is protected by any of your pieces, a knight, a bishop, a rook, a pawn, a king. It's checkmate. That's a very typical idea. Okay, I'll play b6. And you know why? I want to give mate. Now I'm attacking this bishop, and I'm ready to bring my bishop here. There we go. And now the bishop is pointing there, meaning that I'm threatening mate. And this is a very far away threat, so I'm not sure if my opponent sees it. The best way to prevent is to play the move g3. This is also a possible try, but I have a very nice fork. Look at this knight jumping. And this is another important rule. Every time you push a pawn, remember that there are suddenly some weak squares around the pawn, just next to the pawn. So every time you want to push a pawn, just check it. Okay, can somebody jump in this square? It helps you to avoid blunders. Now the rook and the queen are forked, and I think the queen needs to be moved, but then I'm able to take the rook. There is a knight hanging right now, so I have to be careful. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a big deal. Maybe it wasn't amazing. I will take there. Rather, oh, that was a blunder. I thought like, I thought that, no, I thought it was protected. Alright, I just gifted a piece. This is what I say. If you want to get to 1,000, you have to avoid doing moves like this. I thought like this bishop, the knight was protected, and then I was able to do a discovery check. I just, yeah, whatever. It's okay. Now, I'm allowing the trade of queens because I needed to protect my knight. This was my priority. And if the queens are traded, I can take either with the pawn or with the knight. A general rule: once you can take with the pawns, now I can take with the knight. So I will take with the knight because I'm improving it. But if I would have to pick between one of those two pawns, I would always, okay, nearly always, take with the h pawn. Because I'm bringing a pawn from the side towards the center. This pawn here is just controlling the square. There is no j file. And if I take with the pawn, it's suddenly controlling 2 squares. So it's improved, and plus my king is a bit safer because it cannot be attacked on this diagonal. There is no, not a bishop that could go on j6 to give a check. So it's better to have a protection on f7. So I will take with the knight anyway, because now my knight can jump forward there, is attacking this pawn. I want to give mate. I will go, I mean, if I get the knight here, it's actually checkmate. And this is so cool. I really would love to get there. Okay, let's try. Also, another checkmate idea could be to bring the rook there to give a check and then to give this nice checkmate. There are lots of checkmate ideas, but keep in mind that the knight there is checkmate. I'm taking there, very happy to do so. And now, ooh, we're threatening it. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. This is mate. Check and mate. Ooh! Nice! That's so beautiful. Time to level up one more time. Now we have basically an expert player, intermediate to expert player. 1600, e4, we play e5. Let's see what's the difference. They're going out with the knight. I'm also going out with the knight. What will they play? The Scotch? The Italian. We have the Italian. I will go with the knight here. I'm allowing the fried lever, but you know what? Ooh, they are playing it. Usually the fried lever is no longer played at high level. Anyway, there is a very important threat. The knight and the bishop are both attacking the pawn that is protected just by my king. So there is just one move here that is protecting this pawn a second time. And this an indirect protection, because you're not protecting with the queen, that is the only piece that can actually protect the pawn, but I'm interfering with the bishop. Now, I'm not going to take back here, because if not, there is a brilliant move. Knight take f7, attacking the queen and the rook, and if the king takes, the queen is sliding out, giving a check to the king and attacking the knight, and white has a nearly winning position. So the move that you have to play here is knight a5, attacking an in-between move, attacking the bishop. Now the bishop needs to move one more time, and then we might be able to take this pawn. For example, if the bishop is moving there or there, we can take simply this pawn. Maybe if the bishop goes there, we first trade, and then pawn takes, and then we take here, and we have a lovely position ready to just develop our pieces, to castle, and it's alright. The best move is this one. And now I suggest you to play the move bishop d7. What are we doing? We're offering the trade of bishops, and wow, that's the best move actually. Nice. I usually suggest to not be the first one to trade, but to let your opponent trade. Now, it's very important to be quick with the development, and in this line is fun that I'm offering another pawn. My opponent could now take here, because okay, if they take directly, I'm winning a bishop, so they shouldn't do that. But they could take here with a check, I take back with the queen, and then they get a second pawn. But usually that's actually very dangerous, because my development is so quick, they have still all their pieces slipping, that I shouldn't do that. Knight there is a smart move. I will now take here, and this is a very complicated line, high level line, because black is sacrificing up to 2 pawns in order to get to a very interesting position. Now they will have to take back with the queen, and it seems like, oh, I'm losing a piece, but there is a very sweet move, c6. I'm protecting the check by also protecting the knight with the queen. The pawn is taking, and usually here you take with the knight, meaning that I'm sacrificing another pawn. And that's all according to the plan. The nice move here is knight there. I'm threatening this fork, and then I will be ready to castle. There is one move that I really love here, and is knight d7. You might say, what? What's this move for? And the idea is that I'm attacking this knight. Ooh, I think that's a blunder, guys. I'm attacking this knight and also ready to maybe play knight there, and the queen is nearly trapped. So can this knight... The first move that comes to mind here is to play f5. I'm attacking this knight will have to move, and then I win this one. Now, do I have anything better? Or is there something that my opponent can play after the move f5? Because let's not forget that my king is getting a bit weaker. Oh, actually, what am I talking about? I think I'm just threatening this. I can just take, knight takes, and take with the queen. But there is the rook hanging. So, I could play first rook b8, attacking the queen. The rook is now protected also by the knight. The queen will have to move, and then I'm just taking. Boom, bam. That's lovely. And also, maybe we can set up an Anastasia checkmate, which would be really nice. They are taking the pawn, so we can go forward with our plan. We take here, we want a piece. We take here again, and we just need to be just a little bit careful, because we could be in trouble. His knight and his rook are protecting each other. Where do we move the queen? Let's move it here. I'm protecting this knight, so I can castle next. The pawn is attacking the knight. That's probably smart. I will give a check here, and then I will castle. That's it. That's it. Let's go. Maybe we could have something like Anastasia. That would be really fun. I believe the queen will now go back all the way here to attack this knight and be closer to the king to protect it. If not, my next move is going to be... Whoop. Rook b6, ready to bring the rook to the party. There is a problem that this bishop is kind of annoying. Anyway, the pawn is attacking the queen. If we move the queen away from this diagonal, the knight will be no longer protected. But if I go also here with the queen, I'm threatening this very annoying check that is winning a rook. So I have to understand what's best. And if I move the queen there, the queen takes, check, the king moves, I take the rook, the king takes. Actually, I gave away 2 knights for a rook. That is maybe not a big deal, even if at the end I can take this free pawn, and then I'm close to give mate. So I don't want to do that. I will keep my queen here. Can the knight go backwards? Yeah, if the rook attacks here, I can just take this bishop. And yeah, I will have to take there, because if not, I would lose the piece. Let's see it. If I go with the knight there, the bishop can take, and I cannot... my arrows are really bad. My pawn can't take because it's pinned. Anyway, they took back with the rook. We take this pawn, attacking g2. That is, again, a very vulnerable point. And here is another very important chess rule. The rook on the second rank are so powerful, because usually there are lots of pawns there, and so the rook is attacking main important targets. As we can see, the rook is now attacking g2, the queen is helping. I'm saying, oh no, my knights, oh no. They will not take it, I think. They will go back with the queen here to protect the mate, or with the rook there to protect the mate. I believe this is going to be their approach. But if they go with the rook there, whatever, with the rook or with the queen, I could set up a nice checkmate. I could bring my knight slowly towards this square. Okay, they aren't doing that. I think I will just take a free cheese macaroni. I'm protecting this knight that is attacked by the queen, but I'm also threatening this pawn. That is a mate into threat. Okay, the rook is avoiding it. But now I will join the second rank with my rook. I'm attacking this rook. I'm threatening mate number 1 and mate number 2. I think this cannot be stopped. Maybe they will just resign. No, they don't resign, but that's checkmate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If yes, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Please do it so we get to 100,000 subs. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Ciao.